What is going on, Pokemon community? It is Achilles018 here, and today we are talking about all of the amazing things we imagine and hope for in Pokemon games. We're talking about our greatest hopes, our best wishes, the things that make us feel all warm and cozy inside, and how we're all going to file that away under fan fiction and cry when Game Freak doesn't return any of our letters, because all of these hopes and dreams will never see the light of day. Get your box of tissues handy and prepare yourself. Let's go. Number 5. Starters being any other type than fire, water, or grass. This is lower on the list because it doesn't apply to me personally, but there's a larger group than you'd expect in the Pokemon community that is ready to explore new horizons after over 20 years of starters being grass, fire, and water typing, or GFW for short. Granted, even since the first games, these Pokemon have usually gained additional second typings, such as Grass Poison for Venusaur or Firefighting for everyone else. Seriously though, I have seen tons of Fakemon and fan art to suggest typing triangles that play by the exact same rules as Grass, Fire, and Water Triangle do. Each is weak to one and strong against the other, creating a triumvirate of balance that makes the first choice of a starter feel like an amoral decision with no right or wrong answer. This can work with many typing triangles, such as Dark, Psychic, and Fighting, for example. This, however, will never come to fruition, as Game Freak is too far down this rabbit hole to turn back now. Not to mention, there is lots of money tied up in merchandise that shows all the fire starters together, water starters, and so on. They'd have to discontinue these product lines altogether because they would instantly be outdated whenever a non-GFW starter came out. Then it would take years to have comparable merchandise with all the fighting starters, for example. Merchandise isn't the only reason for this not happening, but trust me, it's part of it. Pokemon makes millions of dollars off its merchandise, and some of their best sellers are a Pokemon we identify with, Pikachu and the starters. GFW is here to stay. Number 4. Follow Pokemon returning. Now this one cuts deep for me. Follow Pokemon were truthfully introduced in Pokemon Yellow Pikachu Edition, where your Pikachu partner followed you outside its Pokeball, just like Ash's did in the anime. In fact, this entire game was made to capitalize on the popularity of the anime that was surging at that time. You're given a Pikachu as your starter without a choice otherwise. It initially doesn't like you and you have to earn back its affection. It refuses to go inside its Pokeball, refuses to evolve when given a Thunderstone. Jesse and James from Team Rocket were in the game, each having their own signature Pokemon, and it goes on from there. Exposition aside, follow Pokemon really gained their claim to fame when they were reintroduced and overhauled in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This time, not only could your Pokemon follow you as in Yellow version, but it wasn't just Pikachu this time. Every Pokemon in existence could follow you, from Bulbasaur to Arceus. If you could catch it, it could accompany you on your journey. This is my favorite feature to ever be introduced in a Pokemon game. Period. The immersion and companionship that happened as a result of this addition has yet to be surpassed by anything Game Freak has added into any games since. Follow Pokemon made a glorious return, albeit more limited, in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which are remakes of the very same Pokemon Yellow I was referencing earlier. Now all Pokemon could follow you with incredible anatomical accuracy, and sometimes these walk cycles were even the funniest thing I've seen in a Pokemon game. I say limiting because while clearly a whole lot of love went into making these, this is Pokemon Yellow we're talking about, so only the original 151 Pokemon were available to follow you. Well, I guess technically 153 if you count Meltan and Melmetal, which is less than a third of the number available back in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. The reason the nail is in the coffin on this one is that Game Freak has made it very clear that even getting all the Pokemon into the National Dex, 890 at this point, is too monumental a task to complete. If you can't squeeze all them little monsters into the game, how are you ever going to figure out how to get them to walk behind you? Number 3. The National Dex. Speaking of the National Dex, that's out of here too. As an OG Pokedex completionist, this one is tough to swallow. While useful in some aspects, Pokemon Home is only a fraction of what I was hoping for, and not having a full in-game National Dex to complete is tough enough. But without the ability to interact with all Pokemon as I was hoping Pokemon Home would provide but did not, it's an even tougher pill to swallow for me. My only hope is that the Switch version of Pokemon Home has some updates coming down the road that will allow for more interaction between us and our Pokemon, as that's really what catching them all is all about in the first place. Number 2. Diamond and Pearl remakes. I can hear the heavy breathing in the comment section already, and I just want to remind everyone that these are things I think won't ever happen, not the things I want to never happen. The reality of the Diamond and Pearl remakes is this. The Pokemon Company has had the time, cash flow, and cross-merchandising opportunities to make these games for a couple years now. Within the last 2 years, there have been Sinnoh-themed TCG Collector's Edition box sets, but no games to partner with it. In the Pokemon I Choose You movie, not one, but both of Ash's traveling companions were from Sinnoh, but no games. The average time between the remake release years for each generation is about 5 years, with the longest gap being 6 years between Fire Red Leaf Green and Heart Gold Soul Silver. It's now been 6 years since Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, and we haven't even heard a whisper from Game Freak about these games. Bottom line, it's been too long, there's been too many great chances for tie-ins, and we've heard too little. I fear these games may be stuck in the DS era for good. Number 1. Exploring more than one region per game. It's hard to remember a time when this wasn't speculated each time a new generation was announced. Generation 2 spoiled us in the most unexpected but incredible way by allowing us to start in Johto, but return to Kanto to catch more Pokemon, collect more badges, and conclude our journey by challenging Red, our player character from the previous games, in a first of its time new self versus old self battle that needed no introduction. Since then, players have always assumed that Game Freak would repeat this well-received gold standard, but they never did. Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, Galar don't matter. You're staying where we put ya. In recent history, going back to Generation 7, there were lots of Kanto references and even plot-essential NPCs that were straight up leaving Alola to go to Kanto. Mind if I join ya? Flash forward to a few months ago, and players were connecting the Kalos and Galar maps and saying, hey, they fit together like a puzzle if you smash the pieces together with a hammer while you're squinting your eyes. Alas, as expected, no return to Kalos ever happened. Players keep wanting it. I keep wanting it. But just like wanting $1 million to fall out of the sky, it's all a pipe dream and won't ever happen, even though I wish it would. And those are the 5 things that so many of us Pokefans want, but will probably never happen in a Pokemon game. Do you know of any others I missed? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. That's all for me, and I'll see you again soon with more Pokemon content.